hard to spell name. But since we are going to have our undefeated duelists, why don't we go for what you're really here to watch? Not just me vamping, but the people who are here for dueling. All right, so looks like our room is just about, yep, there's our duelists. They're just going to be sitting down in our feature match stage. And it's so crazy that we have gotten through 9 rounds of Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, we're going to miss you. We really are going to miss you, but there's only so much we could do in a single day's worth of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist just smiling. Oh, it looks like we're going to be seeing Pedro again. So we know him from a previous round, so we're going to be seeing Illusion Chimera at least. I get to say that out loud because, well, all the duelists are locked in our little feature match stage. But again, just been a good time, and we really are here for you, so it's just been great to see everybody, and hopefully you've learned something, right? Whether it's to fear Naturia Bamboo Shoot, maybe it's to understand the exhaustion of 9 rounds of Yu-Gi-Oh! Look at these two duelists just smile. They know what they're in for. They know they're going to make it, so. This particular one, I want to say, is pure Illusion Chimera, so you are not going to see any branded strategy here. It is really going to be just Nightmare Apprentice, grabbing different monsters from the deck. I believe we even got to see the end of Anubis. And I got to be the only duelist left who's just like, yeah, it's the end of Anubis. And you're like, it's big, and it doesn't let me play Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm like, yeah, have you considered it's big, and it doesn't let you play Yu-Gi-Oh! So every time you're on the other side of a really opposing monster card, just remember your opponent's probably having a good time. Don't spoil it for them, right? You wouldn't do it at somebody's birthday party where you're like, oh, how come he gets the birthday cake and I don't, even though I was born on a different day? Let him enjoy himself and just say, okay, maybe I can get a chance again. No, we were hoping to show off some melodious and some voiceless voice, but we just weren't able to fit it in. But again, might be able to do that in the future. We did get our hands on the deck lists here, and it looks like Pedro Alfaro will be playing against Colby Ford here, who's been undefeated the entire day with a Kashtira Tenpai deck. So hopefully we get to see some great combos there. But this is going to be really interesting. This is going to be interesting because, again, Tenpai is kind of difficult to play. As we've seen, I believe that the Tenpai duelist is actually the best duelist in the room, or at least they're being asked the most. Because while their own deck is very linear, right, you only have to do so much, you kind of have to know how to play against every single deck that ever exists in Yu-Gi-Oh! And if you run into some rogue deck, you're like, oh, Fluffle Frightfur? What do I even do? You have to be studied there. So being undefeated with Tenpai means this is just going to be the perfect run. And I'm sorry if the commentator's curse happens here and we done, messed up the perfect run, but it's going to be exciting. Remember, both of these duelists are likely to receive not only an invite if they don't already have one, but that gorgeous regional qualifier mat here. And win, lose, or draw, we're going to interview. In fact, last event, you can check the Game Guys YouTube archives for this. We actually had a tie, so we're just like, bring them both up. Let's just both talk Yu-Gi-Oh! These players know each other, and look at the smiling faces that you see there. You may think, okay, man, it's my opponent, but these are people that care about this game that you have dedicated your entire life to. So strike up a conversation. You might find that you actually really, really know and love this person that's across from you. You just haven't taken the time to get to know them. But it is true. This is going to be wild, to see just the perfect. This might be the shortest featured match we've ever had. I actually do believe our Tenpai featured match on the very first round today was 5 minutes because Tenpai either just has it or don't. So if this turns out to be crazy, we're going to find out exactly what it feels like, what it actually looks like for a Tenpai Dragon deck to go undefeated after 9 rounds of Swiss in a 420-person tournament. But this is just good stuff overall. So it does look like players are just about ready to go, just deferring to the judge to make sure that they're fine. They can make a start. Ain't waiting on me. So taking just a brief look here. Hey, that's Tenpai. Don't. It actually means something too. 10 actually is Japanese for heaven. And the concept of Tenpai is being close to heaven, so you are literally 1 card away from victory. Hopefully the resilience that you find in the Chimera deck affords you just a path to victory, right? The dice roll will be pretty important in this format, but probably, depending on who wins it, Pedro's going first. Little respect knuckles across the board there, and let's go and roll some dice here. So go shoot. Looks like we have a 6 there. And then same deal on the left side. That is a 5. So Colby gets to choose. Pedro seemed to mutter something akin to, I guess I'm going first. I think that's where we're going here. Hey, we'd love to see some Chimera Melodious decks, but the only way we do is if you play and you win. So go get them, Tiger. But for now, the only Tigers we're watching are Tenpai Dragon versus our Illusion Chimera deck, right? With Colby versus Pedro. Pedro just taking a brief look at the hand there, asking a couple of questions, but now we're going to the main phase, discarding the Cornfield Quaddle to get things started. Seems like no points of interaction from Colby's hand, just letting that pass. And I think at this point at Colby, you're just like, let's just see what happens. Well, we would love to have you anyway, and good luck at whatever regional championship, national championship, or qualifier you have, or hey, just your next Master Duel. But speaking of dueling, our Chimera, the king of mystical claws here, is going to go ahead and be normal. So I'm trying to use this effect, but Effect Veiler said, hey, So we are seeing that a decent hand trap lineup is going to let you slow down your opponent, hopefully just enough to get into the game yourself as a Tenpai duelist. Activating polymerization here. It's time to fuse. We weren't able to search anything further, so whatever's in the hand, that's going to have to deal. Looks like it's going to be combining, I think I saw a Cornfield Quaddle with a Gazelle on the board there, so a Beast and Illusion making Baphomet. I mean, Chimera, the flying king of mythical beasts. That's all of their names. There's certainly a cool game design feature to be able to say, okay, we want to make a deck around this boss monster that doesn't really do anything. Why don't we just make additional boss monsters that steal the name? And it's really opened up the creativity in deck development here. But before Baphomet can do anything, it looks like the Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill is going to go ahead and negate its effect. And if it leaves the field, effect damage will be dealt to Pedro. So a nice little early chunk there. But looks like we're going to add that Nightmare Apprentice from the deck to the hand. Again, probably one of the most sought-after quarter-century secret rares in this set. That's the secret rare, of course, but just certainly some news you can use. I think the only other chase card we've seen would be like the Nightmare Throne. But Legacy of Destruction's got just some really game-changing cards. As we've seen, this tournament's really been dominated by the impact of Legacy of Destruction, whether it was Snake Eyes, new Snake Eyes Diabellstar, Tenpai doing numbers. There were some melodious, voiceless voice decks that were out there in the tournament as well. Didn't get to feature them, but hey, we'll try that on the next regional. We are going to see the Nightmare Apprentice. Didn't quite see the discard, but we are going to activate the effect here, so it is good. Colby giving the thumbs up as we reach in the deck, and man, let's take a look what we got here. Taking a look, I would imagine if you're undefeated, you know what you're doing. He probably is just saving it, right? It's one of those things where if you attack into a face-down card and it gets Mirror Forced, did it get Mirror Forced or did you activate Mystical Space Typhoon? We are going to add another Nightmare Apprentice there. And looks like we're going to overlay these 2 6s. Is it going to be the Evil Czar Lars that we saw before? No, this time it's Beatrice of the Lady Eternal. Going to go ahead and detach the material there immediately. And send a Chimera Fusion to the graveyard. It does have 2 great graveyard effects. Call me crazy, but I mean, one of these days we're going to see somebody include the actual Gazelle and actual Baphomet to use that second effect. I mean, it's card advantage, right? Never feels bad. And they are still beasts and fiends. We'll save the deck advice for later since these duels know exactly how to create a tournament-winning deck. They're about to win a tournament. So now Chimera Fusion is hitting the board here, so it is fusion time. And for Pedro's previous lines, we usually see the Chimera immediately being able to take from the hand, but no, this time we're just going another Baphomet. And give it time. We are seeing new Mirror Force cards being released the very next set, actually, in the Infinite Forbidden. So time will tell. But here comes Diabells. And I'm so happy to see it. You know, I know it's a card that slows down the game, but it's a card that hasn't really slowed down games yet. We've had Pedro actually on our feature match stage before earlier in the tournament, and we didn't get to see this sort of controlling card that seeks out set spells and traps and forces you to set them down. And that could be really big. Imagine setting a field spell. And that gives away a lot as a Tenpai player to be like, Goodbye. All right, so looks like we're just going to take a quick look at the graveyard. We've got our Gazelle, various hand traps, but most importantly, that Cornfield Quaddle in the graveyard. Now, nothing too fancy here, but at a certain point we'll have to get in. Judge just making sure that we're aware of all game states. Again, it's been a long day here, and we are not nearly as well staffed as a YCS. It's just a couple of judges, a couple of great event staffers, and we're getting it done with a 420-person regional here in amazing time, considering that it is local time almost 7:20. You might be driving home in daylight if you're actually here at the venue. And we did have that monster 1,600 off the top there. Go ahead and get a little pile shuffling it. Making sure that we're just aware of everything. So yes, that 1,600 is going back up. Or 100, excuse me, 100. All right, so taking a quick look over here. Looks like we've got the Black Goat Who Laughs. That might have been the card that was set for the Beatrice Lady of the Eternal. It does have a graveyard effect and has been an increasingly popular card over the format. Again, you can go ahead and banish it from the graveyard, clear a monster card, and this turn, neither player can activate the effects of monsters on the field with that original name. So a good way to be, well, investing a little insurance for the next turn. Definitely Beatrice a powerful card in that deck because you could not only send different cards, they don't have to be monsters, right? There's a lot of stuff. I think that Beatrice, probably one of the greatest cards ever printed. It's had a very long and successful road dodging the Forbidden Limited list. Maybe one day it's going to get hit. And only time will tell. Right now we're just resolving the cost section of the Pot of Prosperity, banishing 6 cards using those brand new Black Rose Judge sleeves. It only came out just a couple of weeks ago, actually. And now we're going to reveal 6 cards. We've got Pot of Prosperity, Lightning Storm, we've got Tenpai Dragon Chundra, Sunken Summoning, Harpy's Feather Duster, and Infinite Impermanence. The Impermanence actually could help depending on what else you have. But it looks like we're going for the monster, sort of decide to set aside the Tenpai Dragon Chundra. If you're curious about the damage, you might be unaware that Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill might have been used actually on another monster. I thought it was on the first one. But whenever that monster leaves the field, effect damage is done. It's something that you have to make sure you are keeping track of. And because it's a mandatory effect, you are able to write that down in the note-taking section of the tournament policy guidelines. So, hey, bring a pen and paper. There are a few things you can take notes on, and that'll be one of them. All right, so we're going to place that card face down. That's how the Sangen Summoning has to hit the field there for the first time because of the Diabelles. Well, I'll have to ask our judge about that, but good news is, unfortunately, without player audio, we don't know what it is that we missed in terms of that. Sometimes we've seen that before, even at the YCS level. Somebody might get what appears to be an additional normal summon, and you're like, oh no, they used Destiny Hero Dasher. But without audio, it's kind of difficult, right? We're all just kind of guessing along here. At least we're caught up so far, so focusing on the board that we're looking at. Certainly 1,500, 15,000 damage is no problem for the Tenpai strategy if it's able to get things going. And we do have Sangen Summoning here. So we know the Chundra's in the hand. We know that we're going to have half damage, so at least 16,000 damage would ordinarily be the ask here. In this case, it'll be 13,000 damage from here on out. Of course, 13,000 divided by 2, 6,500. That's the life points left. Math. It's a Saturday, we know. And that's what I was thinking too there, but again, there might be a piece of information that we do not know because we cannot hear. So focusing on the game that we do have, maybe proceeding on an accepted game state. Looks like Tenpai Dragon Chundra is going to be discarded there off the Sangen Summoning. So Tenpai Dragon Fadra hitting the field there. And that Diabell's is in defense mode. So I think we are going to go ahead and attack into it and take a little bit of damage. Certainly appreciate the viewers at home. Hopefully this is a good experience for all of you, whether you are on the East Coast, the West Coast. Maybe you're sitting in front of a bunch of monitors there watching different Yu-Gi-Oh! Streams across the world. But whatever it is, we're happy that you're here. Again, now that the Tenpai Dragon Padra has brought out Shundra, Shinra will go ahead and attack as well. And here comes Tenpai Dragon Pydra. Now, what's interesting, though, is Diabell's is still here on the field, so that Sangen Kaiben may not be as strong as it usually is. It looks like we're going to go ahead and advance the game state here. So performing a Synchro Summon using the quick effects of these Tenpai monsters. Again, always one card away from victory. So here comes the Sangenpai Bident Dragon. We've declared 2 attacks so far, as long as I haven't lost count. There's so many attacks you can get off in this single turn with Tenpai Dragons. Again, your opponent could have 40,000 life points, and Tenpai actually might be able to do it. So it looks like we're going to have the Dragon go ahead and attack the Diabell's. So now that's no longer on the field. Then we're going to go ahead and use the quick effect here to Synchro Summon, including this card. Likely going for the Sangenpai Transcendent Dragon, but considering again, nope, we're not going to ask our friend this time, so it is going to be the Sangenpai Transcendent Dragon. The masterpiece there certainly had enough attacks here. It's been 3 attacks, so now all the Sangenpai can join the fray. A little difficult to deal with the Berfomet. Obviously, the illusion monsters are a hard sell. Diabell's being one of the first illusion monsters to be printed without that really cool effect that, like, hey, you don't beat me because I'm not going to beat you. But we do see that since, of course, well, not nearly affected anymore. So again, here comes the Tenpai Dragon Pydra getting the first attack here. Remember, these should be half damage because the earlier Pot of Prosperity, we do get a special summon as well. And again, those of you in the chat are absolutely right. There's a million different ways to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And again, that's why I've been, well, really hyping up our event that we got in 5 weeks here. You can go to the NAWCQ and play Duel Links if you wanted to, or Master Duel tournaments. But the only way that happens is if you decide to come out to one of these great events and play Yu-Gi-Oh! The way you want to play it. Because you really can. But speaking of the way that we want to play Yu-Gi-Oh!, it looks like Ruddy Rose Dragon being synchro summoned out here. So instead going for a little bit more of a defensive play, thinking ahead to the future and not just trying to go for the Trident Dragon. But it looks like we might be conducting a Link summon here. And it really is just the Tenpai Dragon special, right? Seals, pass. So adding 1 card to hand for turn, taking a quick look at all the resources that have been spent so far. Certainly, Pedro has been on this stage before, not nervous, and definitely with the tournament record that you're at, you're really just playing for dignity and honor, right? Who is the undefeated duelist at our 420-person regional championship? Pedro's got a little bit of a smile on his face, too, just, you know, it is what it is. Low life points, of course. About 6,000 life points behind. The illusion monsters are tricky, and this is how they get going. Oh, looks like actually conceding there. And our judge signaling to us that it looks like Pedro's the one conceding. So our game 1 is taken by Colby with just that incredible Tenpai combo, just sort of bobbing and weaving. So really great stuff there, just incredible there. But certainly we've been seeing a lot of different ways to duel across the ages here. The Time Wizard tournaments at the Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series Indianapolis included formats you may not even remember. I want to say that they had 2 events that were based on 2013 specifically. So again, you know, you may think to yourself, okay, you know, these are cool decks, but maybe I'll sit this one out. You don't have to just sit on the sidelines. You don't have to be on the sidelines anymore because, again, ask your tournament organizer, whether it's your OTS or you're at a YCS or maybe you're at the NAWCQ, hey, I'd like to sign up for like what's my favorite era of Yu-Gi-Oh, right? I guess I'm asking for myself personally. 2008, was an interesting format. Teledad, right? You might want to say, hey, I'm done playing this April 2010 stuff. Why don't we just flash forward to the end of that year? Maybe I want to play December 2010, but the only way that happens is you can't just sit there. You got to come out of your duelist shell. I would love to be playing some toss format, right? That was those of you who are Yu-Gi-Oh! Centric people who have been here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, at least in Texas. You might remember when I ended up in toss format, 2019, Fort Worth. What was I playing? Oh, that's right. Mystic Mind Destiny board. Yeah, I would love to play Time Wizard 2019. Would you love to join me? Jokes aside, I know Mystic Mind is not exactly a great time for everybody, but it just shows you really can't ask for a U special. All these different names in the chat, right? You could be like, I'd like to play the Stuckmeister format, which is, I don't know, 2015 December. Maybe it's 2015 November. Maybe something really big happened that next month, and you're like, no, this is my tournament. Again, sign up for it. Bring some friends along, or just ask some strangers, and as long as enough people sign up to fire that format, you get to play your tournament. Speaking of your tournament, let's take a look back at Pedro and Colby as they continue through their side decking here. Again, both of these duelists definitely know what's going on. They seem very comfortable around one another, and you don't get through 9 rounds of this. Technically, this is the 9th round, but with Tenpai, not knowing all the different things you're going to run up into. And the same thing with Illusion. You're like, okay, I did my best, but at least I was able to put something there. Again, for those of you looking at the Neuron section of the screen, you see how it says 16 minutes? It's actually counting up to 45, so we still have about 29 minutes left on the clock. So don't worry, we're not out of time yet, and there'll be plenty of chances for a photo finish here. And I think I swear I saw a super polymerization at the very bottom there of the deck, and that'll be cool, right? 2 dragons combined to form a new fusion monster. We'll see what it ends up being. So on this one, it is just going to be a one-day regional. Unfortunately, we are not going to have our top cut today. So after this, all we'll do is interview our winner and say goodbye to all of you at home. But don't worry, there's a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh! Streams you could be watching across the planet, including Day 2 of the Italian National Championship that should be airing on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Konami EU channel later today. Well, it might be tonight. I think it's like 2 a.m. our time. But don't worry, if you need Yu-Gi-Oh!, if you haven't gotten enough after 9 rounds of hearing my voice, there's still even more Yu-Gi-Oh! To watch. Pedro smiling, doesn't know if he is just one duel away from running the set back or one duel away from congratulating the new undefeated duelist Colby Ford here. We shall see. The pile shuffling out here for just the last of the luck. We have had a draw. Last event we had a draw. We just interviewed both duelists. They both knew each other. They were both happy to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! So we'll definitely get to talk to somebody at the end of this. It's been a great tournament. Again, 9 rounds with a stream and a lunch break, and it is 7:32 local time. Really shows you these judges are doing what they can, and hopefully many of these Texas judges are on our Austin-based team to show some local love and really get that tournament moving. All right, looks like Colby's just about ready. Pedro's got a smile on his face, right? You have a day like this, you know you're going to make it. So, while you may not take home a trophy, you'll probably take home one of those beautiful mats featuring the new Voiceless Voice card from Legacy of Destruction, Saphira. But we're definitely doing it here. So, this is going to be interesting now. Now, here's the thing. You're Pedro. Do you go first? You know the opponent wants to go second, but you also want to go first. So let's see what happens here. 5 cards. All right, I think he's already probably announced. And it looks like setting 2, Pedro passes the turn. Doesn't look good if you're cheering for Illusions there. Already having drawn the 6 cards, Colby considers what to activate first. I think it's going to be the Sangan Summoning Field Spell. There it is. So in pure Mahjong fashion, let's go ahead and add a card from the deck to the hand, and then you got a discard. And it really is like the vibe of Mahjong. There's another Mahjong card actually in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game, Mahjong Munya Maidens. And it has the same flip effect. I'm going to draw a card, then I got to put one down. Just like the fabulous game it's based on. right, so we are seeing Tenpai Dragon Chundra added from the deck to the hand. And, man, look at Pedro, that poker face. He's smiling. He may be saying no response on the outside, but he may be saying never a response on the inside. So we are discarding that Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Don't think we need it here. Taking just a moment to shuffle there. And committing a Tenpai Dragon Chundra to the board, so I think the battle phase is nigh. I believe I see a Sangen Kaimen in the hand there. Just a little splash of that beautiful yellow and orange in the center of a spell card. But Colby keeping that hand kind of close to the chest, so... And there's the battle phase. Tenpai Dragon Chundra attacks. Pedro nods. Using the effect of the Tenpai Dragon Chundra. Looks like we're going to go into the deck here. Nodding, just no response. Either has a great poker face, technically. Maybe not at all. So we're going to take the 1500. And then we have the Tenpai Dragon Pydra. Pydra's going to go ahead and attack as well. And Super Polymerization hits the board, discarding Polymerization in order to fuse these two Fire Dragons to form a new fusion monster. Could be Garura, but hey, that'll be enough. But it's going to be Mud Dragon. Oh no, Garura in defense mode. We have had 2 attacks. We haven't seen a Sangen Kaimen yet. And there's the Sangen Kaimen, so not giving up just yet. I did see a brief little discard there. Might have been an Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring on top, so it looks like we're going to resolve without that. We're squaring up the graveyard here, and it is Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. So Pedro's smiling maybe because he knew he was going to survive this duel, not because he was going to lose it and had no chance. Play passes back over to Pedro. So we're going to shuffle the deck here. And be careful there. We want to make sure. Just hand it off to the judge. Colby said, man, it's been a long day. 9 rounds of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a lot. Why don't you go ahead and cut the deck? And the judge doing exactly that, just to make it in short order. Quick little shuffle. Other than that, Colby says, hey, I'm good. I'm good. So I'll pass that back over to Pedro as he draws for turn. So that Super Polymerization that we thought we saw did pay off. So, getting into that extra deck. We were bought a turn, but you probably don't get many more. So you really need to commit those illusion-based resources to the field there. Only setting a card, though, and keeping one in hand. Is there another Garura coming? Able to save himself for the turn, but just passing it back over. Colby trying to decide which of the cards he has that he's going to play. Maybe out of Tenpai monsters. To have such an opportunity to attack and yet have nothing. Well, you don't have to worry about that too hard with the Sangen Summoning Field spell there. Looks like he's going to grab the Tenpai Dragon Fadra. Taking a brief moment to think, okay, if I do Fadra, then what happens? But yep, Fadra's going to get added. Going to go and shuffle the deck there, sufficiently randomized, and place it back down. Might be going back in, so we'll cut it later if we need to. And discarding. So now's the Tenpai Dragon Fadra on the field. Fadra by his lonesome. But about to special summon another monster here. Tenpai Dragon Pydra. You don't necessarily want to commit to the Super Polymerization if you have it just yet, even if you had another target besides the Garura. But looks like we're going to go ahead and use the Pydra to grab another Sangen Kaimen quick play spell card from the deck to the hand. There's a lot of different ways this could go, but there is Dimensional Barrier. So, we can't hear our players, but we know they probably called Synchro Monsters. So certainly not out of the duel just yet. Going to go ahead and activate the Sangen Kaimen in response to that. Doesn't seem like there's any problem, so we're going to go ahead and, again, search our deck and add to our hands the Tenpai Dragon Chundra. So Pedro buying another turn here probably. Not having to worry about, you know, can't put on any synchro monsters out here. I could make the leg play, right? The classic sealed pass. You leave 2 monsters on the board. Maybe super polymerization does happen again. She also could maybe just start to push a little forward. Oh, but it looks like we are going to confirm those link arrows. And there it is. Oh, instead we had looked at the seals for a moment, but instead we get Heat of the Fire Charmer ablaze, getting that Ash Blossom. And there's super polymerization again. 2 fire monsters this time. Discarding what appeared to be called by the grave. And here comes the Mud Dragon of the Swamp. So just know I'm not going to give up this duel. I won 8 rounds of Illusion Chimera. There's a reason why I'm still here. So both of these duelists, just Colby shaking his head, yeah, it's a good play. So now Pedro's real smile coming out. I knew I was going to survive, but at this point, no additional cards. Just drew the 1 card. Has great monsters on the board. Going to go ahead and use the effect there of the Mud Dragon of the Swamp. Double Super Poly's good, but we've used 2 so far. Now we're going to go ahead and perform a Link Summon. No, it's Synchro Summon time. We changed the attribute so we could get Chaos Angel on the board. Not sure if we went to Dark or Light. It looks like we're going to go ahead and use the effect of Chaos Angel to banish the Songen Summoning Field spell. Taking a quick look there. Looks like we'll Infinite Impermanence. Pay attention to that column there. Garura going ahead and getting a draw there, but now it looks like we're going to Tribute Summon for the Big Wing Berfomet. And Big Wing Berfomet does nothing here except get rid of a perfectly good Chaos Angel as Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring is discarded from the hand. Pedro smiling. Colby smiling. There's a thumbs up. But it looks like just 1,400. Okay, we're not out yet. These duelists are really hanging in there. Maybe his opponent doesn't got it. Colby draws for turn. Duelists at home, be on the edge of your seat, because I know I am. Songen Summoning is activated. Before it even gets to do anything, Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit discard from the hand to destroy that card since it was already on the field. Now we see the Tenpai Dragon Children. There's the handshake. Both duelists really hanging in there. Not giving up an inch. Again, another fist bump. Both very happy to be there. And our judge confirming there that that was a concession on the left side. Pedro having just a stellar run here. You got to give it. We have a habit of only being able to interview our winners, right? Because there's only so much time. But just remember, every single duelist here is trying their best. Certainly could have, but wanted to go big. And we'll ask everybody what it felt like. Ask Colby what it felt like, and answer to everybody there in the chat. 2 Super Poly is very expensive, so certainly being able to get those resources back would help. But again, some duelists, they want to establish a defensive board and accumulate resources. Other duelists are like, no, I've got to do something. But remember, both of these duelists were undefeated going to this round, so they're both going home with something, and hopefully we get to see them in Austin with high-caliber dueling like that. Speaking of high caliber, in just a moment here, we are going to get to talk to Colby Ford about just an incredible grind game, right? Tenpai, known for their grindy games that take a while, right? Jokes aside, we will be back with our interview right after this. And after that, we'll be closing out the stream. But we're so happy that you came here, so don't go anywhere. It's going to be a really interesting interview. And then, hey, we'll just go ahead and set you all free. Stay tuned. Back in a moment. Giving our duelists just a moment there to pack up. No reason to have any dead air there. Again, just incredible gameplay there. And certainly some life lessons that we saw as well. Certainly appreciate you there. I love that we're in Season 5, Brandon, where everybody knows the Pharaoh's secret name. No, everybody knows now. It's fine. but just good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Duelist packing up there. Colby just the man of the hour. Certainly don't need to rush him at all. And really a great time here. We're going to miss you. We really are going to miss you. I could do another 9 rounds of this. Start lining the people up. Tenpai Dragons do not pierce, by the way. So we'll be able to ask Colby just like, oh, a tribute summon. How did it feel like dueling in Battle City? And really get to see some really cool side deck options here, right? At this point in the tournament, Colby happy to just showcase, great options, including those quarter-century secret rare dimension shifters. Definitely got to go chase down a set of that. Some nice stuff. Game Rarity Collection really just boosting up, whether you have the cards already or not. It's cool to see them when they shine that brightly. And it is true that, just no amount of attack points, or rather, no amount of defense points are going to matter when you're facing against the Tenpai Dragons. So just good stuff. Duelist just taking a moment there. Again, if you bid into a full YCS and you've done 9 rounds, you know how it feels to be like, oh my gosh, okay, I had the time of my life, but there was 9 rounds. And just Colby taking a moment, even Pedro there, just chilling, just 2 duelists having a good time. Just gigantic monsters there. All right, looks like our duelists have left. So we should be seeing those doors open, and give a round of applause again for our champion as he exits the door there. Undefeated. Waiting for our sacred slip to get signed. Again, just really excellent gameplay from both duelists. And looks like our judge is coming here to collect some paperwork and drop off some stuff here. So in just a moment, we're going to go ahead, and if you want to just jump on in. There, come on, Colby. This is your seat for you. Go ahead. Yeah. So, if you want to just have a seat here, yeah, good meeting you again. So we're actually live right now because I figured why make these lovely people wait, because they've been watching just some incredible gameplay there. Now, I got to say, Tenpai Dragons, very well known for their long-standing grind game. That was a really interesting match, I have to say. But I want to go from most recent to the beginning. When you saw the tribute summon of the birth of that, how did that feel? I know you knew that the Chaos Angel could be switched around, so you knew what was going on, but you're just like, wait a sec.
Yeah, I sat there and I was like, okay, he's going to commit to the tribute. I have to Ash and leave him with 1 card in hand. It was definitely a feeling of like, if I didn't activate anything right there and just held the Ash, I was losing. We were doing a top deck war, and I've played the Chimera matchup multiple times. I'm scared of Diabells. That's why I actually play the Ready Rose. That it's just, I did not want to get into a top deck war, and that's what it was. So I wanted to get out of that situation as quickly as possible.
Well, you did a great job surviving not 1 but 2 super polymerizations. Was there any surprise, or are you getting used to being super polyed at this point?
To be honest with you, he's the first person that super polyed me the whole day. And I'm not gonna lie, I was terrified. The first super poly, the second super poly, I was like, we're basically top decking, so I was like, he has to have it, and if he doesn't have it, it's just game over.
Well, good stuff. I have to ask, since we do have the NAWCQ coming up, do we already have our invite, and we were just testing the field?
Yeah, so I already have the invite. We, oddly enough, I just came out here to hang out with the boys, rep off the team. And to be honest with you, this deck choice literally happened 1 o'clock this morning.
Really? And we've heard that before, where you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to take this deck and you have the perfect run.
Yep.
I got to ask, speaking of perfect runs, we do have more Tenpai cards coming out in the Infinite Forbidden. Mm-hmm. Is this the forever deck? Are we a Mahjong Master? Are we going to try other things out when it comes out?
To be honest with you, Yellow and Kid Moto, I think it's called Kid Moto, mm-hmm. Those 2 cards are going to make the deck infinitely better. I don't know about the trap card, obviously testing, but just Yellow alone is just really, really good. Being able to have another utility, another name, Poplar-esque effect, which is it's every deck has a Poplar right now, and I don't don't agree with it, but hey, if we, if we're going to continue to make effects like that, sure, I'll continue to play them. You know what I mean?
Makes sense. It's in the game. If they were so worried, there'd be a forbidden limited list for that. Well, I got to say, it sounds like you are very well supported and you've got a great community. Is there anybody you want to shout out as you went through 9 rounds of Yu-Gi-Oh! That kind of helped you get through those 9 rounds, just from home or the test group or whoever?
Of course. So shout outs to the guy that I just played. We went in there going, I'm going to say that right now. We went in there going, whoever gets it, it was a great vibe. We were fist bumping each other before we even got in the room. We were like, dude, whoever gets it, it's going to be a great match. Shout outs to him. He played insanely well. Shout outs to Andy. Andy is my test partner. He actually got, I believe, 5th in San Antonio recently. Shout outs to Team Inspire. One of the owners, got to shout him out. It's one of those things that, tons and tons of shout outs. Ruben, all the boys back in Fort Worth. Still, it feels really good to get out of the Super Poly, to be honest with you.
I mean, it's incredible to see against Super Polymerization a legendary card from the anime and still seeing top tournament table play. But it was wild seeing the Guru. I'm like, wait, he can't do Mud Dragon, right? The heat of play was just so heads up.
That's what I asked. I was like, do you have targets? And he was like, yeah, Mud Dragon. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's true. I was like, yeah, that's right. I was terrified, man. I really was. But yeah, no, it's really, really good. He played his heart out. We both did. We were all laughing in there. It was just a great vibe, and it was a great match. I will say that.
Definitely a great attitude, and with an attitude like that, and with all the testing and good habits you got 5 weeks before the NAWCQ. We might be seeing you at the top tables again.
Hey, I plan on it.
Speaking of which, thank you guys all at home for watching, and thank you for everybody out in the audience. There have been people who have been just listening to my voice for 9 rounds and getting to see some of the greatest duelists that we have here. And by the way, excellent tattoo. I don't know if the stream can see that, but the ring, that's so cool.
Let's see, where is it?
Yeah, the camera's going to be right there, so if you want to showcase, you just need to flip that arm around. It shows you that people are here that really love this game, from the anime to just the best cards the competitive scenes can offer. So we really want to see you here, so you can play against Colby and maybe Super Poly him twice, maybe not. I guess we'll see.
Maybe, man, maybe.
But this is going to be it. We are closing out the broadcast. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. You know the drill if you've been watching a bunch of different streams. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, you are all free now. Thank you so much for watching. You can watch that VOD when you get home. But again, Pheromone signing off, and we'll see you, friends. Take care.
See you guys.